Okay, I think we're all set. There we go. There we are. There we go. How we all doing? Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you in the chat. Oh, classic blaming the dog. It is. It is. It's been a busy time, okay? You'd be amazed what taking care of a puppy is like, you know? Yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, I was talking about the skull last time, right? Or it's not really a skull. It's yeah, that's not a skull. That's just a pet. Oh yeah, you know what? The fact it's a petrified head tells me, yeah, this has to be ancient dragon. Yeah, the fact it's petrified. Yeah, we don't see this with the normal dragons. They're supposed to lack the stone stuff, so, or at least they lack it compared to the ancients. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to mention that if. Yeah, something like that. Even has the tongue. Thought it's mummified, not petrified. I mean, it's clearly stone. Like, this is all rock texture. This ain't mummification. Like, they clearly gave it the rock texture. I wonder if it even, if you hit it, if it does the rock thing too. It's hard to tell with what I've got. Yeah, I don't think. This is a Zuli question. This is a very particular Zuli question. Oh my god, did they have to put the stupid peg in the middle right under it? Like, come on. Oh, come on. Ay. Look at that. They were like, there's a little bit of a ruined platform. We can justify supporting it. It's like, you sure about that? Yeah, you got the bow. You got like a bit of the skull back here too. Like little, I guess that's supposed to be like the throat? I don't think it's supposed to be the spine, right? Pretty sure spine should be up here, if so. Then again, I can't claim that I'm that familiar with dragon physiology, so what do I know? Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is 100% supposed to be Ancient Dragon. It's just weird because it's using a clearly old design that you only really still see in concept art, and obviously Placky, of course. To some actually, I don't think Placky has the fins, right? Because the current heads are like Placky's heads, and they don't have fins. I'm pretty sure. Here's a good angle. What did the dog do to become Sif? Be a little menace. She's a menace, and I'm adopting it. I'm adopting that menace. Yeah, there's no fins. It's not that far off, all things considered. But yeah, it's very clear that the head design they decided would become wyvern stuff. Because the concept art has the webs and stuff. Like, it looks exactly like the skull. All right. Woo! All right. Everyone, I have good news and bad news. The good news is I am making progress with the Loran stuff. The bad news is I'm not making as much progress as I am with Farum Azula. Granted, there's actually a lot of crossover between the two, at least in far as Loran's beast stuff, so I actually consider it good groundwork on figuring out, okay, what do I want to explain in Loran versus what do I want to say for, like, a beast analysis, whether I rope that into Blood's Beginning or keep it as a completely separate thing. Ooh, we want a shot of that. There we go. Damn. I was hoping to get the candles without the... Okay. This should be good, right? Yeah. Because I noticed that with the shots we were taking of the Elden Ring statue, the candles weren't always lit, which I didn't think is a big deal, but, you know, if I can help it, something that could potentially take people out of it when I don't want to. You're working on Loran? Nice. Yeah, that's what won the poll, so that's the one that I'm working on for Bloodborne. Now, granted, Blood Saints will come out first, and that I'm probably going to prioritize. I wanted it to come out last month, but I think I'm going to prioritize it for this month because Loran is just going to take longer. So I think I'll just go through the redrafting for Blood Saints, and then get back to focusing on Loran. I have a lot of other stuff that I'm trying to work through as well, so just know I am a busy bee at the moment. Don't end up as Artorias, though. I be consumed by the abyss of the misbehaving dog. She's really sweet. She really is. Like, she's a little devil when she has energy, but she's a real sweetheart. Like, just today, though, like, she got so much exercise. Like, my neck is killing me. My neck is killing me. Like, my muscle is so tight. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, you just kind of got to work through the pain. But she's such a puller. That's the problem. She's such a puller. I have to. And she's a puppy, you know, so that's the, again, like I'm saying, like, she is a devil, but she's a puppy. They're, you know, children are devils. That's just how they are. You have to civilize them. That's just how it goes. Okay, no, so that's how you lost. Yeah, like, see, like that with the candles now. Yeah, that looks good. Good. Yes, I think Blood Saints I'm going to have done for Loran probably next week at some point. I just got a lot of other stuff on my plate, juggling a lot of different projects, you know, New Year and all that. So we're gonna see how it all plays out, but I get the feeling, I really do, that a lot of good stuff is coming this year. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make sure I have an announcement and stuff for people. People have been doing great work going through DS2 and stuff, you know. It's actually cool. The concept art actually has the teeth in here, but this one does it. I wonder if that's one of those things where they forgot to include the teeth, or if it was deliberately removed for lore or, you know, gameplay practical reasons or what have you, right? Because as is, it's like they kind of look ghostly almost, you know. There we go. This one I don't think we need another shot of. Let's get a shot of her face, actually. I don't think this statue model is reused anywhere, right? Like, there's no point where I think, oh, yeah, this is this figure just in a different pose. Yo, was the Nightfolk race preset the underground Nox guys or nah in this game? The Nightfolk are descendants of Silver Tears. So you know how you fight like nobles and shit, and then they transform with like a Silver Tear effect into other enemies? The idea seems to be that some Silver Tears basically get out, right? Like they escape from the Nox. I guess they gain enough sentience and stuff to be like, oh shit, I'm being used as a slave race. I don't want that. And then they leave and they kind of go out and like live in the wider world. And I guess some of them escape to the lands between, where in their human form, they sex up people, and then those children become half Silver Tier, half human, right? I guess we should say Mimic Tier specifically, because they're mimicking people. So it becomes like half Mimic Tier, half human hybrids, and that's what become the Nightfolk. And they kind of like, you know, develop this culture around, you know, their daddies being Silver Tiers. Yeah, so it's 100%, yeah, as Xavier says, 100% unique. Yeah, I think Nightfolk are actually really cool, just because it like it's one of those like weird things where it's like, oh, like this can only exist in the world of Elden Ring, right? Like this is the only time where it's like, oh yeah, a bunch of like slimes that can mimic human form do that, and then they mate with humans and create like this hybrid race with its own like culture that's related to their unique you know, monster parents, right? Like there's plenty of fantasy worlds with slimes, but I don't know how many do go with that exact concept we see. At least I haven't seen any that do that. So I think it's really cool that you know, From basically kind of created that. I always want to think that the plant in her hair is a glovewort. It could be. We know glovewort is used in the culture. I just don't know if they had a specific idea or not. It may be like, well, maybe a Maybell? I don't know. I'm not too familiar with plants, so maybe someone else recognizes this exact type. Actually, this is a good angle. Let's get the shot of this. Vike looked like one too, I think. I'd have to look at Vike, because I'll be honest, I give Vike zero attention. So I have no idea. They make their own flowing weapons that aren't made out of slime. Yeah, again, there's just a lot of cool little things where it's like, oh yeah, this, like I've said in the past, I think the world of man in Elden Ring is severely underdeveloped. That's one of the nice things about Elden Ring, is that it's adding more stuff, even if it's stuff that's kind of more like, it feels more like random bullshit go type of stuff. Where it's like, oh yeah, there's like tribes of like, you know, bird people out there, and they're like having wars and so it's like, oh okay, we have like magical fantasy. Oh, and there's also like, you know, weapons that like that are like holy like things, and they possess people and they cause great destruct calamities and stuff. It's like, oh okay, sure. Like it just kind of feels like it's like, okay, you're expanding this world, but like in the wrong way. Like I'd like more countries, like outside, like, you know, geopolitics and things like that, you know, kind of like what we got in Dark Souls. And Elden Ring just isn't really interested in that for the most part. It's interested in being like very vaguely fantastical, which is fine. What we get is good enough. It would be kind of cool if they kind of gave it the same attention to detail. Mike's just a big gray. He doesn't have shiny silver skin and hair and eyes. Oh, so he does have the little bit of a grayish skin, though. I wonder if the idea is because he's like Ash, quote unquote, because of the 3 fingers, and they want to make him look more burnt, or I don't think it would be like he's draconian or something, right? Because I think the eyes tend to also be with like black sclera when they that happens. So. This would be another good shot we could get. Because there's like concept art of like this this exact scene. There we go. Yeah, I think that's close enough to the center. Yeah, it's super hard with this stuff to get it perfect. Oh. What the hell? That's not what I wanted. No! Whatever. I got the shot. Let's do a lower angle too, in case. Some of these are hard to get the right angle on. Draconian thing was interesting too. Yeah, that's something I'm actually going to be talking about with Farm Azul. I find there's a lot of interesting things about that. It's definitely a scene Miyazaki was probably backseating on. Yeah, I feel like... I definitely feel like there's a lot of stuff where Miyazaki was like, I'm super interested in like the Martin stuff, and then everything else was kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say like an afterthought, right? But it just didn't have the same degree of attention because probably Martin didn't give it the same degree of attention. So he was just kind of like, okay, I'll like keep it as vague and open as possible. Maybe because in case Martin ever wanted to expand more on that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if for Night Rain, we did have a case where Miyazaki might have been like giving more like advice and tips and stuff. Like in general, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more hands-on approach when it came to the lore and keeping things quote unquote lore accurate, right? I would not be surprised. I'm not saying it like it's necessarily it must have been perfect or something, like there couldn't have been like errors or mistakes or inconsistencies or whatever. I don't know. But like I definitely feel like there probably was some stuff of being like, okay, here are the general do's and don'ts. You know? I do not like the little hole here. Guess we're just gonna have to accept though that it's a thing. Oh, before I forget, I keep forgetting this chat. I need to make sure it's live chat, not top chat, or else we're gonna have another issue where like you guys are sending me something and it might not get picked up by the algorithm or whatever. You think Radigan might have something to do with Godwin's murder? No. The other day I watched a theory video about that exact topic. We watched both videos, I'm pretty sure, right? Because the guy did too, I think. But yeah, I ended up watching it, and yeah, that has to be that definitely has to be the worst theory I've seen. Just period. Like I'm sure there's a lot of others like it, but like it was really bad. Like no insult to the actual person there, but like just really bad analysis. I was so flabbergasted by some of what came out of that. We did, yeah, we watched a video on that, all right. We watched... Lol, yeah, I watched that too, yeah. Yeah, so if you want my full thoughts, you can watch, I think I've made them public already, but you can watch the previous, like, Elden Ring streams, and one of them is going to be about it. You'll notice, because it'll have the video there in the mini, browser screen. But yeah, it was not, let's just say that I was not convinced. I saw nothing in that video that really made me go, oh yeah, Radigan was definitely responsible for Godwin's murder, right? Now keep in mind, I would say the same thing about Marika. Like, this isn't a Radigan or Marika thing. I think both scenarios, whether you try to blame it on one or the other or both of them, I don't think any of it works. I don't think any of it makes sense. I think it's based on a complete misreading of Marika's character and a misreading of the facts, which is pretty threadbare as far as the facts we have to even tie her into this, versus other completely rational interpretations of the evidence that would completely absolve Marika of any wrongdoing that you could possibly try to pin on her. And I just think that whenever you run the scenario, believe me, I've tried every which way to try to give a charitable, benefit of the doubt analysis to it. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It is... Huh. Oh, yeah, because this leads to some of them are dead and some of them aren't. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't exist. There we go. Yeah, by the way, has anyone found any historical parallels to these? Like, I've tried to see if... I mentioned in one analysis... a comparison to what's it called, the Memon style, or something like that. And I looking back and I'm like, I don't know if this is actually accurate. I think I think they're two different styles, personally. Yeah, I've already killed him and taken that. Oh, this is... I like this, though. Because I get to show the gold specks. The gold specks in the earth. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the menu graphic for something like this, but I wanted to get a screenshot just for the sake of it. There we go. Yeah, here again. I do have a draft for the Night of the Black Knives, but I'm kind of sitting on it because, one, I want to prioritize the Bloodborne stuff, and two, I think I need more cooking in the oven to think it over and make sure I'm not missing anything, or better ways I could write it or something like that when I get back to redrafting. So I'm just kind of giving myself some space. But my general opinion is this. I think what happened was very simple. Ronnie somehow ended up figuring out, discovering Rykard's little hobby, ends up kind of roping him in with a conspiracy where she recruits a bunch of Black Knife assassins from the town of Celia. These are Nox descendants of the Eternal City, right? You know, the entire town is basically like that, right? And she and the Karian royal family has deep connections with Celia. You know, the whole stuff with Lusat is orchestrated by the Karians. So, you know, like, it's everything sort of lines up there in terms of scenario. They get together. They find a lot of people who are aggrieved by Marika from the fact that, you know, she herself is a Newman, and yet she basically betrays the true Newman heritage that the Nox likely imagine themselves, because they are the clan that goes back to the first god of the Elden Ring, right? And they feel miffed by the greater will for bringing them to this earth, essentially. And they want to go back to the stars and yada, 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 the great treason, and then the greater will punishing them, and they kind of like double down, yada, 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 right? So there's a lot of, what's the word? Generational, animus that is, oh, I'm surprised that failed. That is, you know, kind of playing out there. And Marika sort of heads this as being like basically a race trader from the Nox's point of view. And so they get basically hoodwinked into helping out Ronnie when she has no real intention, or at least none that we can see, of actually helping them through this mess that they're gonna get themselves in with the assassination, right? She fully plans to backstab them, and that's fine by her. So she ends up basically having her where Rykard will lure out Malekith to his territory, or rather, he will alert them when Malekith is in his territory, doing basically like a periodic inspection type thing. For the whole Great Serpent Rebellion and all that stuff, and making sure there's not a repeat of the Glowmite Queen incident. And then in the course of that, yeah, it's good enough. In the course of that, the assassins are all prepared to essentially ambush Malekith on his way back, steal the rune. Rykard basically keeps Malekith pinned down, caught up in this whole investigation and procedures and yada yada yada, while they smuggle the stolen piece of the rune of death to Ronnie, so that way she can forge for them the knives. And then that same night, they ride out in the cold and wintry night, the foggy night, and they go into position, and then once Godwyn is assassinated, they then have it coordinated so that way the others will be assassinated afterward. Ronnie, of course, gets assassinated at the same moment as Godwyn, so that way they can divide up this curse brand they have, so that way Ronnie and Godwyn become, you know, dead in body and soul separately. The others just basically die, and then it becomes a matter of... it becomes a matter of just escaping, but it looks like probably around that moment, Malekith probably returns, alerts everybody, everyone goes on high alert. This wasn't part of the plan or the deal. Rykard basically let Malekith go early, as per Ronnie's wishes, and essentially everything fell apart from there. Obviously, we have the ringleader, what's her name, Electo's daughter, Tish, ends up dying in the chaos. Electo and at least most of the others managed to escape and kind of go their separate ways and all that, because they can't go back to their steeds due to the capital being on high alert and probably finding them first and all that, which leads to Morgoth end up training the Knights Cavalry and all that jazz. And then, you know, that's basically how the entire event played out. Essentially, you have multiple layers. You have basically a conspiracy with full intention to backstab. It's as simple as that. The goal from Ronnie was obviously to basically try to free herself from the two fingers while inflict some spite upon her mother and, you know, others in relation to the whole Golden Order and bloodline, which she does not approve of because of how they treated her mother, Renala, in the whole course of all that, right? And then, the assassins, obviously, again, as already explained, their grievances. And Rykard, of course, similarly has plans of rebellion with the whole, you know, get devoured by the serpent, you know, become as gods, kill the gods, blah, 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 you know. So everybody basically had a simple enough motive. There doesn't seem to be any need to somehow add on top of that the main person who was clearly the target to be victimized, obviously beyond the assassination targets, but the one who was supposed to be emotionally targeted from this was obviously Marika. And that seems to be, they got exactly what they wanted. Marika basically snapped. Let's say she does technically do an Age of Night, though. Okay, yeah, so I don't know if it's the exact same as how what the Nox want, right? Because Ronnie does have a similar idea where she's like basically going to travel to the stars and stuff like that. I just don't know if what she's doing is exactly what the Nox particularly want to do or anything, right? Because they're obviously, the Nox are all about getting a Night Lord to kind of herald their return. And I don't know if the idea is like the Night Lord will do something special to make their return. Like is the idea that they need to go back to a very specific dimension that only a Lord of Night can, right? And is this Lord of Night the same as the Night Lord in the other context with, what's it called? With Night Rain, right? That I also am not entirely sure of. I want to believe probably so, because it'd be very weird if there's like two different kinds of night, essentially. But it's totally possible that the Nox and the Night in Night Rain are dealing with kind of separate concepts that overlap with this idea of night. Yeah, nothing else I'm really seeing over here. We've pretty much got all the stuff we want. You have the trees here. That's nothing crazy. Let's do this. Yeah, something like this is fine, right? Maybe a little lower. Maybe a little higher. There we go. Hers is more specifically an age of stars. Yeah, that's true. That is the more exact verbiage. There we go. The pupper is sleeping. Repeat. The pupper is sleeping. Thank God. After all that exercise today, both physically and mentally, I would hope she's tired. Like, goodness me. Dog, I am breaking my body for you. God, she looks so cute when she's sleeping, too. Like, God, you know, she is so adorable. This little devil of mine. God, raising her is going to be so special. It's been a very long time since I've had a 7-month-old puppy to raise, you know? It's okay, I didn't find what I wanted anyway. Yeah, let's go here. There we are. Yeah, it's not here. Okay. Not here. I could have swore we had more of these somewhere. This design also looks familiar to me. I don't know why, though. Like, there's something about this design that makes me go, like, I've seen this somewhere before, and I don't know where. I hope it's not Dark Souls. I hope it's not like some... I don't feel like it's Dark Souls. Like, maybe it's Lane-Del. It might be a Lane-Del design. There we go. Again, I'm pretty sure there's nothing down here either, but we'll give it a look. Ooh. Yeah, I want a shot of this. There we go. The dragon set you find here looks cool as fuck. Yeah. I like the wyvern like dragon knight. It's called, or what's the formal name? Drake Knight, I think. But like, yeah, I like the design. I think it looks neat. Like with the wyvern webbings and stuff. It doesn't look like any actual wyvern design, right? I think that's maybe my one critique is that, again, it's like the ancient dragon head I was talking about earlier in the stream. It's like one of those things where it's like, this doesn't look that consistent with the other designs, but again, it's like a minor gripe, right? Again, like all the games have this. It's one of those things where you just kind of accept that From Software kind of try to implement things as like artists make it for the most part. And as a result, there can be like inconsistencies and stuff. It's nice when they do make it all like, you know, more holistic. But, you know, they're not perfect. And at some point, they're going to, like, give. At some point, they gotta give. Now, here's where I wonder if the idea is that this is a Beastman based on the clothing they have him go, or if they're going for it's one of the Banished Knight humans. Or could be even, like, a normal citizen. Maybe the idea this is a normal human citizen that's become one of the worm faces, you know? Drake Knight, yeah, Egon assumes you're one too. Oh, he uses that exact verbiage? I actually don't recall that. That's actually a really cool detail if they included that. No, but yeah, the set looks just really cool. I think in general, I really like the dragon lore. I think it was one of the coolest, like, reveals, quote unquote, that the DLC had. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, in retrospect, like, yeah, I could have definitely probably figured that out without the DLC. But like having the DLC there to like confirm so many things and like so many pieces coming into place, like it's really amazes me just how much like that one confirmation in regarding Bale and like the dragons and the ancient dragons being at each other's throats, how that single like clarification like made all the pieces fall into place regarding ancient dragon war. Like there were so many oddities where I'm like, oh, it looks like this and this. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Why is this happening or whatever? And then like it all just then clicks. It's like, oh, that was the missing piece. That was like the gap I didn't realize that I was in making there. Yeah, it was just one of the coolest things there. I think one of my funniest moments though still has to be the whole America's Blessing thing. Nardi knew when she's found it that I would laugh at that, and she was absolutely right. It was hysterical to me. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you know, you know. So the fact that it all fell together that way, it was just really cool. But I was laughing so hard on that one. But yeah, I think the dragon, in terms of actually like, you know, badassery, like that was the sweetest one. It's just like where it's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Holy shit, yeah, that's how it all fits together. I actually wanted to look at Beastmen now and see if there's anything similar on like the citizen versus the knight ones and all that stuff, because I'm pretty sure the quote-unquote citizens are just the knight guys without the armor. My favorite streamer. Look, chat, I'm your favorite streamer. All right, enough horsing around. What are you doing horsing around right now, Loki? You got some serious analyzing to do here. God, I love this BGM2 chat. Like, God, Hoshikage does really good theme songs. Like, in general, I would love to hear more of her music now and into the future. Ooh, this is a really good shot of like the clear. Yeah, something like this. There we go. Hollows inflicted with death blight. You think that's the idea? Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree. Yeah, I think the idea is this is like the remaining human population and stuff that exists in Far Missoula. Which is why the dragons were able to so readily turn to humans, because they had their own population there. And they've kind of continued sticking around this whole time. Especially when you factor in astrologers or and stuff who also would join in. Because it really makes sense if it's like, oh, we already have humans, so it's not that unusual for you to migrate or stick behind when you're like migrating through here, going from mountaintops all the way to Caelid, right? We also have to consider that timeline wise, the astrologers have to be doing like migrating down both directions, by the way, after the ancient civilization and dynasty collapse, right? Because we have to basically have both civilizations not being that old. Like we can't have them contemporary with like the ancient civ doing their thing with the golems and stuff in Caelid. So Celia can't exist at that point. And both Celia and Lascar have to be more or less contemporaries in order for both their major early generations in what's his name? Azure and Lusat to both be kind of meeting up around the same time, establish the academy, and them still being alive by the time that Renala and crew come in, and then Marika shows up right after with her whole order that's going to keep everybody alive a lot longer, right? Like all of that kind of has to play out. Okay, yeah, it's not a mistake there. I just wanted to confirm. Okay, yeah. Let's do this. Yeah, that's good enough. Was it a glovewort picker's bell bearing here in the gazebo? I would not be surprised if it was. I mean, we're literally right outside one of the mausoleums, right? Like, it would make sense for there to be the glovewort, especially considering I think it's here, right? Like here or something, where we pick up the glovewort, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe is it a floor down? Like, no, I think it's that high up. Yeah, I think it's like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the idea is that these guys are probably gravekeepers, if I had to guess. Like, these are some of the human gravekeepers that live in the town and work. It interests me how this one keeps going and curves inward. Oh. Oh my. Oh. No, they all curve. It's just this rock is more pronounced, so the curve is less obvious. Okay. 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 I don't know why you would do it this way, but whatever. I guess from this angle, it looks more natural. Though again, wouldn't it make more sense to just keep it flowing downward this way? Like, I don't know. Where to hide you? I've decided that your lives are no longer necessary for my great project. You have served your purposes not. Yeah, no. Yeah, something where we don't have to, like, make questions about, yeah, this it looks good. Yeah, something like this. I think this is a good shot. Perfect. Coolio. Yeah, Loran, thankfully, because of the stuff of beasts, getting my brain on Farm Azula is nice for the purpose of Loran. Though again, I think it more so helps a future beast analysis and helps me figure out where I want to separate stuff. And plus maybe find some cosmological differences. because it's like a bit of, it's like a dash of Bloodborne, but it's mostly like riffing on Dark Souls. And then, of course, trying to recontextualize all that stuff within the framework of Elden Ring. It's a very interesting Frankenstein's monster we have here. I think in general, it makes a really compelling setting, considering we're dealing with a civilization that very likely is the first one to ever be established. There's still a lot of questions that I have. Like, I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened to Placky's god still. Like, did she die? Did she physically leave or something and disappear? I feel like something like that has to happen because Farum Azula has to lose access to the Elden Ring. So that's one major piece. And two, somehow the Newman lineage, separate from the Nox, has to end up taking over and establishing Rao. Which, if we take the DLC as any indication, would specifically be occurring like all the way over in the middle of the lands between, where they're also fighting off Baal and stuff. So like all of that kind of leads me to believe like, oh, there's something very, very special going on here with how events are playing out. I don't know if the idea was maybe that the god, maybe Placky's god didn't actually want to do her job after a point, but she was like fated for it. And the Nox were trying to help her by killing the two fingers. But that doesn't really make much sense to me. But then there's the question of, oh, well, what about the two fingers looking like the relic? The god relic sword. So like, is the idea that the two fingers blade was made out of her corpse, like they killed her and stuff? But then what happened to her and her progeny and stuff? Like, we have Grand Sax, of course, but I don't know. There's a few things where I'm like, what about the Newman? I guess it's always possible. The idea is that like after the death of their mother, a bunch of the Newman descendants fled, or they left because they weren't really attached to it anymore. I don't think they would be roped in with the Nox for punishment. I think that would be going too far. I don't think that necessarily makes sense. Granted, the Greater Will is kind of such an opaque deity. It's really hard for me to get a really high resolution of what it's trying to accomplish and do at any given point in all this, right? Like, does it have the same consistent will for Hout? Has it had any change in plans or something in its behavior? Like, does it change its mind at some point about certain things? What is the limits of its power? Why does it interfere in the ways that it has? You know, that type of stuff. She shattered the ring because she was tired, LOL. Maybe. Like I said, I don't know exactly what happened. We know the hammer. Okay, so here's the thing. We know that the hammer has to also leave Farum Azula and end up in Rao. And then when Rao collapses, it ends up in the Shaman village where Marika can pick it up and keep it. So this hammer has to find its way to Marika through this lineage of the shamans going back to Rao, but going back to Farum Azula. Because there's no other reason to make a hammer that's sole function seems to be, and it's a stone hammer specifically, keep in mind, that was created in the land of the Newman from the another world for the sole purpose of forging or reforging the Elden Ring by taking off whatever runes and mending them back, you know, in whatever way that you choose. So there's no reason for all this to happen unless it literally was created for the purposes of the Newman who came down to establish the civilization with the dragons. Are the shamans like a part of Newman's? Yes, that would be the that is what all indications lead to, that the shamans were a bunch of Newman women who were essentially living and doing some not so nice things to passing men for the purposes of supporting their long-lived population. And they were essentially some remnant of Rao's royal line, most likely. And so they were, yeah, this is where we find the thing. Okay, so I was wrong. It's not over here, because this is where the front, the back of the building is. It was over here toward the front of the building. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Speaking, when we're talking about like great revelations, I think also working on the Glowmite Queen stuff, I think it really put Marika's character like again, I've always talked about this idea of Marika and her having to deal with like her two great loves, which would be power and family, right? Like this is always the idea is like, do I choose kin or personal ambition, right? And, Marika always chose the selfish option for herself and sacrificed kin, as much as it seems to have always pained her to varying extents, right? And it kind of erodes away at her. So I found that working through like the God Hunts and then being like, oh yeah, that explains the hypocrisy with the Omen stuff and all that. Like, again, it's just one of those things where I like it that as I work through Elden Ring, I get that feeling that I haven't had since like early like working through Abyssal Archive and Dark Souls. I had a little bit of it working on Dark Souls 3 as well, but not that much. Like most of the stuff on like my Dark Souls 3 big revelations came from how much Miyazaki was ripping off Demon Souls with Gunter. It was like, oh my god, this is Duran all over again. I just did the analysis for this like months ago. So there's always that. Yeah, we gotta do it this way. Oh wait, 1 second. Does it change? Nope, it's still, they did not design it like they did with the ones you could scale atop of. What a shocker. Where are you getting all of this rubble? Where are you getting all of this rubble? Yeah, there we go. I kind of want to mention how they're gathering cobwebs, I do kind of want to mention how after the destruction and stuff, like this stuff it's been long enough to gather cobwebs. Oh, not long enough, my bad. There we go. Just to showcase some of that underground aspect. Let's go from here too. I'm sad that I can't go back to the very tippy top. I think I got shots of that area early on because I predicted that like a while back, but I have to go back and check. Oh, I'm literally a little sad that they put, I'm pretty sure this is like the second time they do this too, where they put a grace point right in the middle here. A little unfortunate. Also still using horse bones. Inside every dog is a horse. I love reusing assets, chat. It's my favorite thing in the universe. When in doubt, just reuse the asset. Stop thinking, forehead. In case the other shots we've taken are too bright or something. I have some problems with them for whatever reason. There we go. And yeah, I confirmed. I have shots of the beast men skeleton skulls, and yeah, this is just their face. Like their skulls are, there's a bigger eye holes and like everything. Like this is just the face. All right, so we kind of have a similar thing with this. It's not exact, but we do have something kind of similar here with the medallions and stuff that the worm faces have on. Nothing really on the cloth side though. Like it's similar to what we have here, but like again, it's clearly like not exact. It just kind of looks generally like it's like a vibe thing. Like vaguely the style is like what we see with their jewelry, right? It's vaguely consistent. Nice, nice. Yeah, we've seen these designs. It's the Cathedral of the Deep. Cathedral of the Deep design being reused, of course. This goddamn satyr, he gets his work. He's like, listen, Aldrich wasn't a good long time gig. I gotta make my money for the little baby satyrs. Ooh, I like this lighting better. There we go. There we go. That's supposed to be blood on their mouths. I guess it is, yeah. Let's get close about this design. Might as well. I don't think we need it, but might as well. May as well. There we go. It's a dog. Man, when they called them dog meat, I didn't realize they were being literal. There we go. All right. Uh-huh. Is Blythe one of these dudes? I don't know for sure. I'm not sure if shadow beasts come from a specific origin or if they kind of just manifest out of the ether. I'm willing to lean on the second because we see so many spiritual beings, which are also clearly... What's the word? I don't like that. It's too close. Maybe. All right, I got some options here. Something like that. Okay. There we go. Yeah, okay. Ugh. You know, more I look at this, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Obviously, style's different, but these guys look more like hollows the more you examine them, you know? Yeah, let's do it this angle. Ah, stupid. Stupid. Stupid orange particles. I don't need orange stars in my sky. My stormy ass sky. My dragon winding sky. There we go. It's a unique process every time, you know? Oh no, there's a stupid particle there. I think we got it good enough. But yeah, I don't think Blythe or Malakath are one of these. Though Malakath does seem to adopt the Beast Priest ways because, well, in fairness, he's going through a bit of a soul searching, so. Pro ain't even eating at Lamar. Yeah, this is the funny thing with From Software stuff where it's like, at some point you're like, the dev said good enough, so I should too. Like at some point you don't try to get too, what's the word? Too like hyper specific, be like, oh no, see, he's not actually eating the corpse, he's eating the dirt in front of the corpse. It's like, no, it's clearly what the idea is. Like they're all supposed to be eating bodies. Sometimes though, this looks better than if you actually put the body like under it and stuff like that with the glowing item, right? Because you gotta keep in mind, if you had the body under, the item literally would be glowing right through the guy's face. So it's like, at some point you have to compromise. Like, you can't have everything be like picture perfect exact. Hey, Nobre, good to see you in the chat. Nobre, I'll be making an announcement on the Discord and stuff. So again, I want to thank you again for like you and others for helping me with the DS2 stuff or what have you. But I'm not sure if we're going to be well, obviously I'm always going to be accepting things, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have it all kept in case of future Abyssal Archive 2 were to come about in the, who knows, maybe distant future, maybe not so distant. You never know. So yeah, so in preparation for that, maybe or maybe not happening in the future, I may be having to make an announcement to all of you guys that's like, keep that in mind if you want to get stuff in. Like, now's the time if you want to like help me like correct any typos and stuff beforehand. Again, I would be obviously and I would assume my publisher would too if this were to happen, would do our best to make sure that we catch any. But obviously, the more you guys catch for us, the easier that process is. So that way, we don't have the problem of where we miss stuff in the future, you know? A2 finally? Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. I, for one, would never do my my publisher so dirty as to confirm something that they have not personally announced. But hey, I'm just saying, like, you know, just giving an arbitrary timetable that some things may or may not be possible after certain dates. I never liked this guy. He was so nasty and mean to me. I'm so glad that he's dead. I hope you never touch Deathroot, you piece of shit. It's like paying their respects? No. Giving their last haha. I'm back from the dead, bitch, and you're not. Question to you guys, actually. This would be a good thing. If we were to come out with an AA2, hypothetically, would you guys like it to just be called AA2 or Abyssal Archive? The mythology of Dark Souls 2, or would you prefer it to have a different name where it be something like, I don't know, a Vendrick Archive or something like that, you know? Like, would you guys prefer to keep it as like you sort of same title scheme, or would you guys prefer it if we went something wildly different? Kind of like how we went with Demonic Archive for Demon Souls, you know? Basically keep the archive but change it to something else. Again, purely hypothetical. This would absolutely, totally, 100%, never in a million years have any bearing on any actual project which may or may not be in production. I assume, Xavier, you're trying to say same. I assume that's what the S stands for. Yeah, I'm not finding any more of these. Wait, did I miss it, maybe? I feel like back at the Grace Point, maybe I might have missed it. No, that's a different design. Oh. No. Ah! Scholar of Sins Archive! No, it would... ideally, we would want to keep it, like, demonic, abyssal, like, something with 3 syllables would be the ideal. Speaking personally, I want to keep it as Abyssal Archive. I think... just a mistype, gotcha. Yo, personally, I would want to keep it as Abyssal. Like, I've thought it over, and I'm like, I just don't like the idea of changing it up for the purposes of it just being a sequel. I think it's better to keep it all within the Abyssal Archive moniker and change up the subtitle for 2 and stuff like that. Maybe just Scholars. I don't know. Scholarly Archive, I think, sounds too generic. I think it's something where it's like Abyssal Archive has a ring to it where, like, you understand, like, it's something else, right? I'll be honest, I have misgivings about Demonic Archive as a title for that reason. I did not. I was not going for Demonic Archive. I would have preferred to even... I would have even gone for, like, Fog Archive or something, but I would have been fine with, like, Colorless Archive or something like that, you know? Something that would have been reflective of the Fog, personally. Something deep into the cosmology of Demon Souls. I think Demonic Archive, personally, is too generic. I was not a fan. I was not consulted in this decision. Let's see. And Loki, hear me out. Shanalot learned of Nishandra's great goal due to her mutterings to herself, like we see her in her cut dialogue. Trust. I'll be honest. I am willing to pin the blame of Nishandra's knowledge on Velka. I am willing to say that I think that with the outsized prominence Velka is given in DS2's setting compared to the first game, and the fact that some of this stuff is just so random for Nishandra to know about without any outside information, and the fact that we know that she's basically traveled, like, around, I think the Giants, I think she could have known on her own. I think, though, the actual location of the Throne of Want and stuff, and the idea of using the Throne of Want, I think that all came from Velka. I think that was Velka trying to advance, maybe on behalf of Koth. Maybe Koth was, like, looped in on this or not. But I think Velka was essentially, came across her and basically told her, yeah. You go off and do this throne thing as a, again, one of those subtle nudges of trying to, you know, end the Age of Fire. She's too busy, obviously, doing things on her side. She's obviously never going to put herself in the direct role for any of this, right? So I think, like, the Chandra was a useful tool. You mean Shadowlot? No, I mean Nashandra. I think Nashandra was I think Nashandra was the one that was being used. I don't think Shadowlot. I think Shadowlot's only involvement would be with the old Firekeeper lady. I think that's as far as Shadowlot's involvement with any of this goes. I don't think she has anything to do with Velka. Yeah, I cannot find any more of this symbol being used. It's surprisingly rare. All right. I love the plants growing on the stone too. And a line of wording, oh, Nashandra wants flame, blah, blah, blah. See, that I feel is relatively easy to discern about Nashandra once you know she's a child of dark and stuff. Like, once you know, it's like, oh, the queen, you know, the queen is a child of dark and stuff like that. And she's, you know, the king discovered all this stuff before he went and disappeared. Like, I feel like the moment you know the inside story between Nashandra and Vendrick, which I think is not hard for Shanalot to know about, between her and the Firekeeper, and what information is discernible between like what Aldia knew and what you know, what is just like generally something that you can like spy or hear about down the grapevine at Dragon Shrine probably during a lot of these events, and then just stuff that you can detail or learn after the fact. I think Shanalot probably learned a lot about Nashandra naturally. Do you think the melting woman, the baby in your memories, is supposed to be your mom? Yes, I go over that in second beginning. It's supposed to be. The Homeward Bone references this idea about you forgetting everything up to and including your birth. And it's a very obvious callback to the cinematic where, yes, like, it's showing you as a baby and the woman, your mother, holding you, melting, and the idea is supposed to be these are your memories of your babyhood and stuff. Like, your earliest memories are disappearing, you're forgetting who you are and stuff like that about you, where you came from and all that stuff, and it's slowly clawing away, right? And granted, this is not that unusual in that, like, how many people actually remember their quote-unquote births, but obviously it's supposed to be tying into this existential horror of hollowing. Yeah, see, same idea here. The tongue, the eyes. Mm-hmm. Do you do it longer? No, yeah, I cover that in second beginning. So all of it has to do with, in my opinion, based on all the available evidence, which is basically Homeward Bone. I also think it's very weird if the idea is like this is like a wife and child when they want to keep the choice of gender up to the player. So even though the character is obviously like the model is obviously designed to be like quote unquote, you know, male and stuff because they know who they're marketing to, I think all the same, I think for the fact that they try to open the game with it, they're trying to keep it ambiguous enough that you the circumstances of what you're forgetting or losing or blah 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 is all going to be universal regardless of gender. So the idea of like, oh yeah, your memories of your babyhood, your birth, are essentially lost. That makes more sense than the loss of a wife and child, which, again, if you want to role play, you might not even necessarily want that to be your backstory set in stone, right? God, why are shadows retarded like this? That's good enough. There you go. To be fair, Homeward Miracle. Okay, yeah, Homeward Miracle. I'm sorry, I said Homeward Bone. Yeah, sorry. My brain. I can't keep all these things together in my brain, guys. Forgive me. Apologies. Do you think birth works normally in Dark Souls? Yes. Every indication tells us that basically humans live the appropriate for the medieval European fantasy time period, right? Like everything about that seems pretty much consistent. The only additional wrinkle is the existence of undeath. That's the only major difference between that and historical medieval Europe in terms of general circumstances are concerned. So yeah, two people, they get together, they do the deed, and child gets begotten from that. And it just so happens that all those children are born with humanity inside them and a brand in their spine, which manifests as the dark sign under certain circumstances should they die. I will say, I do wish From Software would explore the idea more. I get why they don't, but it would have been cool if they actually explored the idea of being like, oh yeah, child mortality is really high in these types of worlds. And so with that high child mortality, there should be a disproportionate number of babies that would be becoming undead, right? And they do this with old people, obviously. Like, this is a huge angle they go at with Londor. But even in Londor, I make the point of I have to talk about statistically, but I have to ignore child mortality for the purpose of the statistics. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, From Software, they really try to avoid the whole, again, understandable, they try to avoid the whole baby death thing, even when Miyazaki really, really wants to include it in his narratives. He loves his child killings. There it is. Yeah, I didn't miss it anywhere else. Okay. In the Great Shift, you want some changes about the effigies. So I've talked about this before, Nobre, in terms of the animation, but I'm willing to review the animation again and maybe change my stance on that. But I do think it's based on what we do in the beginning of the game and how the animation generally plays out. I do think the idea is we're just kind of staring at it. And yes, there's kind of like this jerky reaction we have, but I don't think the idea is like the effigy is actually going inside. I guess maybe if you want to make the argument that like the effigy looks like a person and so it actually attracts and quote unquote captures and cages real humanity, I guess you could take it from that angle, right? And then the idea is like we would be, I guess, inserting more nah, that doesn't exactly work mechanically and be like, oh yeah, we give ourselves more humanity and the humanity somehow doesn't accelerate our curse, right? Was the brand not in the map, the bones the mound makers took? The idea is that, like, yes, the dark sign, the shackles of the gods, the dark ring, all of that is engraved literally in our bones, right? Like, it is something that every human is essentially born with, carved into them, right? Like, it has been effectively like carved into our genetic makeup, right? Effectively, right? We don't really necessarily have genetics in Dark Souls, right? It's all like soul genetics and stuff like that. But the idea seems to be that when they engraved the mark into the pygmy race and all that stuff, they made it so that way every generation would have their bones already engraved with this, that effectively gets passed on to every generation of man after them. Yeah, there we go. Ah, damn, not enough. There we go. So yeah, it's in the bones, but it manifests on the back. In terms of the actual ring, like in Dark Souls 2, they showcase it. In fact, when it's like manifesting as like a black vortex, a swirling vortex, you see this in the cinematic and in a bunch of different hollows. And this seems to be Dark Souls 2 substitute for the roots in the heart, which is another thing, right? Same side of the body, I should say, right? Like on the left side of the chest versus left side of the back. And similar idea where like all these roots are sort of manifesting from the heart, right? And obviously Dark Souls 3, which is trying to go back to sort of the Dark Souls 1 way of doing things in so many ways, kind of goes for that stylistically again. Though granted, DS2 didn't completely abandon the idea. You see it in certain contexts, like with the Children of Dark, with Nadalia and stuff like that. You see that kind of manifest again. No, not Nadalia. Well, I guess Nadalia too, but Alana. Alana is the better example. There we go. I need to stop doing this. I keep hitting the print screen button by accident. But yeah, anyway, either way, I'll relook at Human Effigy just because it is such a, you know, it's a small but very important detail, so you definitely want to get it right. But yeah, you guys have been sending me good stuff. I've been reviewing them. Some of them are stuff that like you guys like say like, oh, Loki, like missing data. You're like, oh, Loki, forgot this. I'm like, oh, no, I've already talked about that in another article. I like go back and double check. I'm like, yeah, it's in here already. So some of that stuff is kind of like, no, it's not really missing. But yeah, you guys are giving me a lot of good typos and missing stuff and suggestions and things that I need to take into consideration. So appreciate it. I don't remember any being on this bridge, but we'll double check before I go. And I don't think it's in the temple thing. Oh my god. I don't know. It ain't here, Chief. There we go. I didn't realize they used these torches here. There we go. God, they love my satyrs. Okay, yeah, they use the same. I assume this, a lot of this is you were using assets they use for the lift and stuff. Yeah, I recognize some of this. A lot of like generic, like bestial and like animalistic imagery, and then like whatever this is supposed to be. There we go. Am I crazy? Weren't these pillars larger? Maybe I'm crazy. I could have swore we had taller pillars during the Malekith boss fight, but maybe I'm just imagining things. Just a little Loki hallucination, you know? Because that's what I need. I need to start be hallucinating shit. Need to be put inside an asylum. Man, I can only imagine how annoying it must be to get bodies in here and then make sure that Earth solidifies into solid rock. Yeah, well. Yeah, something like this. And we can compare it to, oh, you know what? I like these over here even better. Like, I love these, chat. It's called cement. Now I'm just imagining a bunch of the beastmen, like mafioso types, being like, "We gotta do it to you, bub. We didn't mean to have to do things this way, but you know, it just happens that you weren't cooperating, see?" We gotta make you, you know, swim with the fishes. Where's the water? I don't see any fishes. Johnny, pour it in now. They're gonna be stone draconic fishes, you see? Oh, this is so stupid. Is this ER? Yep, this is in fact Elden Ring. If you're curious because of the fact that I'm using the camera in a unconventional way, it is because it is a free cam mod, of which I use to get screenshots for my website. Link in the description. All right, it looked kind of like Ring City was. No, this is Bar Missoula. This is late game. I'm actually curious how well this would actually fit if you realistically put it, quote unquote, back. Obviously not too well because they didn't actually properly. They didn't do a cutoff point for this. Yeah, because there's no physical way you could possibly see how low it. Yeah, so they didn't actually model this. Like, this should have like a giant hole in it, right? Because you got to fit it here, but like, you know what I mean. I'm actually curious how well to scale that part would be. God, Far Missoula is such a cool area. Like just thinking now, it's like, damn. Like this area just from concept to execution is just so cool and unique. Uh-huh. Elden Ring looks crazy. I need to play it. Oh, it's a really fun game if you like other From Software titles, and even if it's your first one, this one is arguably, maybe Demon Souls is a bit easier, but like I would argue this one gives you the most training wheels. I'm sorry to say, summoning was a mistake. Spirit summoning should never have been added to this game. Online or nothing. Let's see. Looking over here. Yeah, nothing crazy here. Okay, I think I got the shots I wanted. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. Hmm. Really, Elden Ring looks very difficult to me compared to DS1, 2, and 3. I think at its heights, sure. If you go for like the most difficult boss battles, I think you could definitely say that like Melania. I still haven't beaten Melania, right? Like Melania is a high execution fight for sure. But I think overall, I think just the fact that you have spirit summoning makes it dramatically easier. Just the just free ally taking damage, and everyone knows the one specific spirit that is just like lol. Why even bother with anything else? Yeah, we need to get a shot here. I thought DS2 a lot more difficult than the other two Dark Souls games, so in my view of difficulty is a bit wonky. Okay, DS2 is like artificially difficult, where it's not really difficult because the game is tuned in a certain way to give you that difficult experience. DS2 is just a broken game that deserves to be cast down into the fiery pits of hell and never be spoken of again in good company. That's what DS2 needs. There we are. You had to summon on Nishandra? Okay. That's a little impressive. I will give you that. Is this before or after doing the DLC? Just out of curiosity. I mean, to be fair with DS2, I've never been in Ludleth and Zolin, though that's less to do with the difficulty of those bosses and more to do with the bullshittery that is the what's the damn thing called? The Snowfield? No, it's not. Damn, Elden Ring has screwed me so much on remembering terminology. Not Consecrated Snowfield. What's it called? Frigid Outskirts. There we go. My brain. But I love DS2. That's fine. You can be one of the two DS2 fans in the world. That's totally acceptable. They gotta exist, just statistically, you know? All right, let's see. A little higher here. All right, that covers... Yeah, perfect. I like this. All right, I think I've covered every angle of what I would want for this area. Yeah, some of this stuff maybe I should be considering. Frigid Outskirts. Thank you, Nobre, for helping me remember as well. Yeah, it came to me just like I was like, it's not Snowfield, it's another word, and it's like once Outskirts came in my brain, I was like, yes, I remember this name. It's funny how recall works. I think Beast Temple, I'm pretty sure, has the design too. Yeah, everyone's not like, it's whole point. It's like everyone's like, yes, Frigid Outskirts. It's like, no, don't awaken my trauma. I want to keep it repressed. Those goddamn horses. The horses. The horses, Nobre. I needed that. I feel like I may have a shot of this too already, but just to be safe, you know, it never hurts to be cautious. Oh yeah, we have to. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's the different design. Yeah, they use a different design here. Whoa, I see where the loading starts switching over. It's so obvious too. Now that I see it, I can't unsee it. Like, it's like, god damn, that is like so blatant. Every time I yawn, chat, my neck wants to snap in two. God, these muscles are so tight. Not as good as Monster Hunter Kieran, that's for sure. God, I miss hunting Kieran. Man, I want to hunt Kieran. No, damn it, Xavier, you're gonna make me like pull up Monster Hunter World. Make that my off-stream game. Yeah, that was the problem. I was trying to remember the English name, No Brain. It was like, I was like, ah, no, that's not what they call it. No. It was like, ah. Holy shit, how big is this map? For Elden Ring? I mean, it's an open world game, so pretty big. Pretty big. Another thing that makes Elden Ring easier is the fact that it's open world, so you can like, you have a lot of flexibility on bosses. Like, they're not a lot of the same, like, you know, gatekeeping like it would be inserted in Souls games, where it'd be like, okay, you have to like beat this boss before you can progress. Like, that still exists in this game, but there's so many options to you just being like, okay, I could just go somewhere else and kill something else and level up and farm, you know, like, it's really easy to over level stuff if you really want to, right? Like, I think by the time I fought Morgott, I had like done like every other boss, right? And he wasn't like especially difficult from what I recall. Again, he's still like a fair challenge, but like, I don't remember him being like crazy difficult. I also vaguely recall me trying to Kamadazur his ass because of the memes, but I know for my what was he what was my I got it. I know it's here. What was it? 1 second, chat. Old man Loki needs to remember. Yeah, it was Corey, and he was Confessor. That's the word. I don't know why, but for some reason I had to physically look at the armor set in order for it to come to mind. Oh, whoops, wrong one. We're still in boss territory here. All right, there we go. Blolt. I love how the door had like, you know, just kind of pop open like that. All right, so we got our design here. One last top bottom shot here. Guys, look, we're reusing assets from Archdragon Peak. Aren't you proud of us? Miyazaki, probably. Beautiful. Beautiful. He has a bit too little health for when you fight him. Yeah, I feel like it was like a like more than fair fight for him being like the mid boss, right? Yeah, I think Morgott was like definitely pretty lenient, all things considered, especially if he did all the content. I couldn't remember if they used the design. No, they did like the vaulted ceilings. Okay. Makes me wonder what type of altar or whatever was here. Like I do wonder if there was an idea, or at least like a general like vibe of being like, oh, we would have like a plaquey statue here or something. All right, we're going over this way. Just confirming, because I think there's also the smaller bridge, and I don't remember if the smaller bridge has anything. No, it looks like it uses the same design, but we'll get the close-up just to be sure. Oh, ×5 speed, I love you. Yep, okay. Same exact thing. And I know I've gotten shots of this before, so yeah. We even have the design stuff for comparison if necessary. I completely missed that trap ball, huh? Oh. It's completely avoiding me. That's a shocker. These guys do not breathe fire from what I recall. They're just kind of reddish. Yeah, nothing special to say here. Wait, did I not? No, yeah, I have killed. Okay. I was like, have I not killed Greyhole? Like, they're just brown babies. Yeah, brown babies. Yeah, they look a little bit reddish in the lighting, but I do think it'll probably look more brown if I looked at like the raw model. I don't know. I have to check if Slosky's got a shot of them to give us like a solid idea. Maybe it is supposed to be red, like they're going, not like a bright red or anything, not like Radigan red, but like, you know, Wolf of Radigan red, I should maybe clarify. Is that rot or whatever? Yeah, this is Scarlet Rot. That actually might be a good point, actually, now that we mention it. Maybe the idea is supposed to be like Nah, because we see it with what's his name, Egg Sykes. It's a lot more obvious. It's more whitish how they depict it there. So I feel like if they want to, I guess maybe they could have switched up the idea, but yeah, I don't think so. I think these are perfectly fine boys. Don't we also have corpses that also have a similar like white look to them when they? Let me double check. Yeah, like this guy up here. Yeah, you can see a little bit of like the red and stuff still on him. Ooh. Yeah, okay, this is pretty consistent here. Ah! Well. Yeah, like a mini Egg Sykes. Does it look very scarlet? It looks like death. Alright, get me over here. And there's nothing in Caelid related to Farum Azula, so I think we can move on from here. Well, yeah, so nothing else here. Let me double check, make sure I have the shots, because okay, we have the shot here. This one has the grace point problem though. Yeah, so this one has the grace point problem. I'm pretty sure I already have a shot of that too. Then they're the ones on the road, the highway here. Yeah, and that continues. Oh no, shouldn't go to Dectus. There we go. That should go all the way up through Altus, if I recall. Also, I do think Dectus, yeah, Dectus and Rolled also have it. Yeah. They also do it. This actually might be a good time to get those shots. Yeah. Yep, okay. All right. Yeah, it's good enough. There we go. Something like this. Dragon Ball Moro arc anime adaptation finally is announced. Of course the Brazilian is talking about the Dragon Ball anime. Oh, I love you, Nobre. But cool. Unfortunately, I've not been following Dragon Ball since the Buu saga. I was kind of interested with when Battle of Gods was getting announced, and then they had the Resurrection F thing, which was like, I was like, ooh. But I've kind of been tuned out of Dragon Ball for such a long time now. There we go. I don't remember there being all this gold on it though. This is interesting how that it's on the stone. It's kind of just plastered on the highway stones in general. All right. Anyway, so new Dragon Ball, huh? This is for the Super anime, or is that technically finished? Like, is that like done and like they're now like doing their own separate thing? It's still a toy animation too, correct? Like they have not I don't think they've switched studios for that one. They're kind of using the design, like it's partially it, but not really. And we go this way. How's your progress on grasping the wider cosmology of ER, Loki? Actually, unironically, making a little bit of progress. I think God Hunts definitely helped because it got my brain kind of like in that mode. And then the Farmazula stuff, it's making me have to try to like crystallize some of my vague ideas and impressions into something where it's like, okay, well, how's this working? How is that working and stuff? So like little by little, I am in fact getting a stronger grasp on the cosmology. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near an expertise. I would not think I'm anywhere close to like solving the cosmology in ER. Don't get me wrong. I still think I'm barely graduated from neophyte. I am like kind of sort of in the early stages of journeyman level, right? I gotta ascend my guild rank until I can become a master, you know? But I'm getting to the point where I kind of have to start addressing it for some of these things now that we're getting out of like the Godfrey era and going into like the future and past stuff. So at the very least, I need to be thinking about these questions, and I'm actually satisfied with a lot of the answers I'm getting. So you're gonna get what you want soon, no, Bray. Soon, TM. Just put a nice little trademark on that. Soon you will be getting a cosmology of Elden Ring. And by that, I mean like another decade. Don't worry, guys. By the time Elden Ring 2 is coming out, I'm sure I will finally have the cosmology figured out. Credit to Spotown and Vati for coming out with their Elden Ring content. They're like, we got some answers. We'll throw them at you. Me, I'm like, no, I need to stew on this some more. Ooh. I cannot work as fast as them, unfortunately. Nah. All right, so I don't think there's any more. Oh wait, maybe. I don't think so, but maybe here. Yeah, nope. Thought so. All right. Then, you know, it's our classic running around through Langdell like a chicken with its head cut off. Oh, wait, but we can't do this one. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna be, don't mind me because, you know, wrong Langdell and all that jazz. So, Shashinki, I think? Yes. Shashinki to the rescue. I love my little photographer. Shashinki. What are we looking at today? Oh, that's not helpful. That was a bit of a dumb move, chat. No, okay, no, because they do the sewer grates instead, so. And these diamonds, it's always the goddamn diamonds. Yeah, nothing this far. Okay. I think there's one here. At least one, right? Why not? Nope, I'm just crazy. There is no art strike in pink in Bossing Langdell. Nope. Oh wait, which rug is this? Okay, I don't think this is the rug that would have the astrologer little cuckoos on them. All right, there's definitely nothing inside the fortified manor then that would be relevant. Sanctuary might have one though, because isn't the floor like covered in crap like that? Yeah. Yeah. I thought so. There we go. Yeah, I might post what I've got for Farm Azula tonight. Again, it's not like a completed draft, of course, but like I think I've like given enough shower thoughts that for the vomit draft it should be fine. In case you guys maybe have something that I'm like, oh, you forgot to add this or whatever to the draft, so I can make sure to add it in redrafts. But I think like I've gotten like all the stuff leading up to the whole Wyvern Rebellion thing covered. I think that's probably the next big thing where I have to start thinking about, okay, like sequence of events and how things progress and just how things were executed in general and the whys. That's always the important question, is why. Is it 3, 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's a lot more than 3. God, this random fog shit is kind of pissing me off. Not gonna lie, I don't like it. All right, so that's cool. I'm just gonna take a quick glance down here. I don't think Farm Azula uses this design though. I think this is different. Yep, nothing. Okay. All right, I don't have the binoculars here. This always annoys me is how low poly this is compared to everything else. It's like, what the hell did I do to deserve that? All right, and definitely up here, there's gotta be like one. Can I please stop yawning and hurting my neck? I'm in enough pain. Enough pain. At least the dog is snapping. Oh, there's that. It's up here. Yeah, we've got like, I've got plenty of shots of this stuff, so this will be fine. And another. Why do you keep putting grace points in the middle? Why? Something like this. There we go. Move it there. There we go. All right, we got that covered. Wanted to make sure we had that. I thought about whether I wanted to talk about Morgoth's de-omened form in the Shattering or in Omen stuff. I think it's going to be Shattering though. I think it's just better if everything with Morgoth's particular situation is covered there. Great de-omening. More like de-horning, I guess, would be better. We made him less horny. We had to give him a good bonk, but we knocked the horny out of him. Oh. Also, call me crazy. Pretty sure there was never a cloth covering Morgoth's privates before. Like, where the hell did this thing come from? I'll say this model in general looks a little weird. Like here specifically. Whew. All right. I think... There we are. I think this is done. Okay. Okay. Like I said, we already got this stuff here. We'll get one from here just for the road. Perfect. All All right, that should cover it all. I'm pretty sure that's the last one we'll find. Unless there's like some secret one in Stormvale I'm forgetting or something. I'm pretty sure that covers the entire... all the game areas. All right. Now, I'm exhausted, chat. So, I think I've covered everything I needed. My brain is ready to shut down and, like, just sleep for solid 8 hours. So, I think I'm going to go do that. Considering I'm running on fumes, though, I think we did pretty well going through and finding some of the last stuff I might want to document for the future, for the sake of stuff covering Farm Azula. Like I said, Bloodborne stuff needs to get done. So Bloodstained I'll probably want to finish before this month ends. So sometime next week, and then probably have whatever I've got on Farm Azula. Like, oh, well, you still know it's a Loki stream. Start the stream falling, we end the stream falling. I think I've covered a good amount of what I'd want to do right now for specifically FA. Yeah, I think that topic is... oh, you know what? I think there's actually one more thing. I'm pretty sure the Colosseums also have this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Colosseums are also here. No, it's just the B symbol. Oh, no, you know what it is? I'm pretty sure it's like inside the arena itself. I think I remember from Zuli's screens. All right. Alrighty. Yeah, okay. I think this is enough and we can call it here. All right, thanks so much, guys, for keeping me company on this. I'm loving the pupper, but again, I'm sorry that the pupper this has been like stealing so much of my time that I haven't been able to stream as consistently lately. I really do apologize, but like it was a lot of work, you know, getting her and then taking care of her now has been it's a joy and a curse. So once I take care of my little toddler on speed enough, I'm hoping that I can like I want to do Night Rain tomorrow. And then I'm hoping that we can get back to doing longer streams again in the future. But again, it's just going to depend on how much she's willing to behave and cooperate. And if that means that I have to do like earlier streams, maybe I'll do that. But we'll just see how it plays out. Until then, everybody, catch you later. Bye-bye.